Hello again, everybody. I'm Larry Hamilton. Welcome to my YouTube painting channel. Thank you for watching. We're doing a watercolor today, and it's going to be on 11 by 14 Fabriano Artistico watercolor paper, 300-pound cold press paper. So it was 11 by 14. Today we're doing a little bit different type of painting. I don't have any photograph to work from. I've really just got a sketch that I sort of created in my own mind, and it's like what I think maybe an old gold mine might look like. I've seen some pictures of them and try to do some sketches. So instead of going to the computer, I'm going to just take you through a couple of things I did, and we'll just get started right on this. So I want to show you here my sketch pad that I started with. This was really the beginning of it, and I started in pencil and reworked it a few times and tried a couple different things and a couple different ways of doing it, and ended up making this in ink. And then typically I don't talk too much about value patterns, but that's kind of what's always been behind the value maps that I'm showing you when I take a photograph and take all the color out of it and look for the darks and lights and mid values and try to get range to that. So with this, since I don't have a photograph, I just sort of used another sketch pad here and made a couple of 3-4 sketches of this in a smaller format to see if I could look at ways I could bring the sun in, and how I would do that. If I brought the sun in from this angle, I would try to make the sort of have a light white, have this face be white, near white, have some mid value here and around, most of it all mid value with a few selected darks underneath, under where the walkways are and the bridges and so forth. So that would be one value pattern. Another value pattern would be to bring the sun in from the other side, in which that case I would have this face be dark, and dark underneath here, part of this may be shadowed, and then all of this light, sun hitting over here, and then the rocks would have some shadows on the bottoms, and with some light on the top for highlights. The third way would be maybe to have a backlight where you're looking into a bright light. So you have a light background, very light background. All the objects here in the center, in the middle ground, are all dark in shadow silhouette form. Sometimes that can make a nice painting. And again, have a few darks underneath, but the light would be shining underneath, so the water and things that are underneath these walkways and bridges here would be lighter. And then you'd have the rocks would probably be in a dark value as well, with the rest of it being mid value. So I've just been renewed that. I attended a workshop by a painter named Tony Couch. I think you've heard me talk about him, and he always emphasizes the value patterns that his mentor taught him, and so I was reminded of those as I started working on this. I thought maybe I'll just try that, see if I can take a sketch and then throw it into some sort of a value pattern. The value pattern I think I'm going to use today is going to be this one here on the left, where the sun's coming in from the left side. So I'll leave this, most of my white shape will be sort of inside the front of this building, and then there'll be highlights on tops of the walkways and the other support structures, some highlights on top of the rocks, and everything else will sort of be a mid value that's not dark. It really have some dark on the sides and underneath. So that's the plan for today, and let me get these out of the way and we'll start working on this. I want to open up my palette here, which I was using for a background, and show you my brushes. My brushes are the usual. I have my Sterling Edwards palette here with the set of Holbein transparent watercolors around. I have a couple of bristle brushes, a small and a medium, that I'll be using. I have a couple of flats, a number 1 inch and a ½ inch. I have a few rounds. I have a number 12, a number 8, and a number 4 round, and I have a rigger brush. I don't know if I'll use all those. I don't know if I'll use all the colors, but let me go around the palette and explain the colors to you in case you're new or haven't heard it before. I want to make sure everybody's caught up. I do have this chat window working, so if you're online you can chat to me and type questions or whatever, or give me answers if you have them, and I'll be glad to chat with you that way as I paint. The colors here are, starting here in the lower right, these are Holbein colors. This is Payne's Gray, Cobalt Blue, Ultramarine, Deep Blue, Prussian Blue, Permanent Violet, Hooker's Green, Umber, Burnt Sienna, Quinacridone scarlet, bright rose, brilliant orange, quinacridone gold, permanent yellow deep, and cad lemon yellow. Okay, so those are the colors. That's the palette. And let me see, I'm going to get my, for our online audience here, I'm going to fade back and zoom my camera in so that I can get this set up and show both the painting we're doing. I've got it sort of angled so that it's off to the side there, so I can overlay my palette on top, and I'll put it down here in the lower right corner. So I hope that when I'm painting over here in the lower right corner, I'll try to move the palette up somewhere else so you can see it and not miss out on anything. Okay, so the sketch, let's talk about that. I've got it on, I have it on, that's the only file I have out on my website right now is a sketch of this. And this is really pretty dark. I did it so you could see it well, but it's got a little bit too much graphite in it for me for this particular painting. So I want to try to take some of this out just a little bit. I'm going to take my kneaded eraser here and just sort of lighten some of these areas so that I don't want a lot of pencil marks. Some pencil marks aren't bad, but I don't want a lot of them showing up in my final painting, and when I put them on this dark, there's a good chance they will show up in the final painting. So I'm just going to lighten them up. So I may make it so light that you can't see it, but I'm just leaving a light trace on here for me to see it so that I can know where some things go, and I can also rearrange some of this if I need to. If it doesn't look like it's working right, I will lighten it up. See, I'm taking so much out that you're probably on the camera, you're not going to be able to see all of this, but I see enough that I will be able to put them in, and you can download the original sketch. You can use it and use a template and for your own use. I want to have some water. This is all going to kind of be water down here. I've got some stones for a stone footing I'm going to put in, and I'm going to have some nice big rocks here in the foreground that will help frame the bottom of this painting for us. Okay, so this is just a good trick if you use pencil, if you sketch with pencil, to try to make sure you lighten up some of the final sketch. Sometimes if you use a tracing and put something over this with tracing paper or transfer paper, I want to say, these will be also very dark and a little bit hard to live with because they're hard to get out. So I've been trying to do more just pure sketching and not relying so much on photographs as I have in the past. So I think I'm ready to go. And again, let me remind you, I have a computer up here by my palette and by my easel, and I can see if you put in some comments or ask me questions. We're going to start on wet, so I'm going to wet the top of this quite a bit, and down, at least down to the level of the roofs here and that sort of thing. This little thing I had in the background, this little thing that's like a telephone pole back here that I threw in just to give it some interest and throw some lines in and that sort of thing. I wanted to sort of clean that up a little bit. It wasn't completely finished. All right, I think that's pretty good. Maybe you can't see the sketch at all now. I don't know. When I look at the monitor here behind me, I can't hardly see that sketch. So anyway, that's going to be our starting point, and let's get going. I'm going to get me some clear water here, just clear water for the background here, and I want the sky to be really soft and background to be really soft, and so I'm going to wet all of this paper up here above the roof line and above these buildings over here. This is 300-pound paper, cold press paper, as I said earlier. That means it's going to be going to hold a lot of water, and it's going to dry out slower than 140-pound paper would. But make sure I got that across. I want this to give me some nice soft edges above these buildings here and along the sides, and So I'm putting this water around, pretty much around the buildings, and I may put some down here just to throw some base color in. So my first steps in this are really to just get some base color on around that represents some of the colors in this painting. I don't have any color reference actually. It's all just sketch, black and white. So what color should I use for the sky? Well, you could usually use a blue, right, of some kind. This is going to be sort of a summer scene. It's not going to be a winter scene, so I will try to use some of my blues. I'm going to pick up some of my cobalt blue here, and we'll start with that. Cobalt blue, and we'll add some violet to it here to give it a little bit cooler blue than just the raw cobalt blue. And we'll start putting this in back here in the back, putting it up at the top, letting it sort of blend down. Change, maybe pick up a little more of the lavender or purple and let it come down to these mountains in the distance. Maybe even try a little bit different blue. I got this ultra blue here. Maybe I can start it over here, and it will be a little bit different color, and a lot of dark. I got too much on my brush right there, but we're going to make this sort of let's try some of this lavender and a little bit of my red with purple in it. And we'll throw some of that in here in the middle just to change the color up a little bit. Like this. Okay, maybe a little more over here. And because this is all nice and wet paper, we're going to get some decent colors under here. Back in here. It's going to blend together. As long as this remains wet, we'll have won't be having any blossoming going on, so to speak. I'm just going to pull all this down, pull it in here right under this building, and on down. We're going to hit some water down here, so that blue will work down there, leaving work underneath here to some extent. Trying to keep some of these areas white paper as much as possible, and over here I want to put a little bit more of this color in down here. Okay, now let's change the color a little bit and get some of this colors for the rocky areas down here. I'm going to put a little of my umber and sort of mix it with my blue. If I mix the umber or burnt umber with a blue, I start getting a gray, and I can gray it down as much as I want by how much blue I put into the brown. So if I just throw in some colors down here, I'll start putting in a layer of just something. It doesn't have to be anything specific, just sort of adding some color to this so that we can have something to work from. So that's pretty much my underpainting right there. I don't need to do too much more and let that sky sort of settle. I'm getting a little bit of a hard edge up here on the top, which I'm not crazy about. So let's do something about that. And I'll use my clear brush here, my clear brush with water, and we'll pull it down like this. Sort of blend that together. So I've got an interesting sky that changes color up there. And we're going to have some trees over here. We're going to have some land in there. That's still dry. This is all dry right through here. All of this is dry. So my wet paper is basically pretty much where I have my paint right now. This was a little bit dry in here. I let it get dried out on me. Okay, so that's what I would call the first pass. Roughing it in. Okay. All right, let's go. Okay, so see how that is. All right, I can still see my my sketch. I don't have to redo any of that. If I get down here a little bit later and I start losing the sketch, I'll go back and start putting some of the sketch back in. I'm going to use a big brush now. Remember my value map. The thing I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to keep this particular face open, keep this fairly light over here, and then basically that's going to be my white shape in here. I might have some white down here around the rocks. So I'm kind of using that as a guide as to where to put my darker or mid-value colors. And putting these colors on, they do lighten up, of course, as they dry. So everybody knows that, right? That you don't get the color. You don't get the color you get when you put it on. You get a different color because it lightens up by 20-30%. So if you don't take that into account when you do your painting, you're going to be in trouble. So you'll at least get the wrong value. Anyway, I guess I should say you may get a value, but it won't be the one you like. So this area up here over the roof. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and put some of this roof on here while I'm get me some burnt sienna and some of my red together, and we'll see if we can get some of that roof in here, and maybe mix a little purple in there with it to change the color up a little bit. So you see the colors I'm working with here are just something that's pretty nice colors that would be a good color for a roof. All right, I'm going to put just a little water in here now, clear water, not a lot, just enough to let me merge and blend these colors in here. I wanted to keep that dry while I was working on it before, because I didn't want the paint to run everywhere. So, all right, so now I'm going to take this color that I have. We'll start up here and we'll put in some things that look like we got some roof running down there that's that to be a sharp edge out there. And here we can put a little bit more color, and then by just taking a little bit drier brush, since that is already wet, I'm getting soft edges. I can just kind of pull this down and let it drift and blend into a little bit of a lighter color. In this area down here, I want to turn that into somewhat of a gray. I'm going to take my brownish color that I have here, add a little bit of my ultramarine blue, and we'll start throwing in a few light gray things here. This is going to be our out of the daylight section, so I want this to have some color in it as well. It's going to be darker, so let's just put this in, maybe run this out here, put a little bit of a violet of some kind in there. Okay, and we'll just keep throwing some more of this in here. I got a big brush, so it's forcing me to work loose and not be so over detailed, right? So one way to force yourself to work loose is to use a big brush. Big brush. The bigger the brush, the more chance you got of keeping it loose and not getting too much detail in your... Okay, that's that side. All right, where else am I going to have this color? Well, how about let's put a little bit of it up here on this building over here, maybe. Repeat it just a little bit up here, maybe not quite as dark. So maybe not dark enough. Okay, we'll just sort of run this down and let it go down here somewhere. All right. So much for that piece of it. Might as well put this little thing in here, this little thing that's holding everything up. And Just something like that. Can't have a roof sticking out like that without having it sitting on something or being suspended by something. I actually put a little bit of something in here, I think, just when I was drawing the sketch. That's good enough. All right, so that's gonna be that way for now. Let's see what we got down here. If I've got some areas that I can start putting some of this color in, maybe I'll bring this color back. It's going to be connected to these rocks and stuff down here, so I can continue to make this darker. Right now I'm going to leave it the way it is and just get myself some soft edges down here so it blends together. Soft edges with the small bristle brush, dip it in clear water, take most of the water out, and just tickle the edges and give it some soft texture here. Over here. That way it doesn't look like you've put something in there. That still leaves that, so I can put hard edges in there and make it look like rocks. Okay, how are we doing? Back here in the back, maybe I'm going to try a little bit, since I got this big brush going, get myself some of my quinacridone gold, and and just come back and throw in a few of these hilly mountains back here, like this. Something like that, just to put a color in and let it blend and mingle, and then let's darken it down, maybe add a little bit of green to it, see what that does. We'll change the color a little bit as we come down this way, and just put a base color in. This is just putting an under painting of some color, and we'll make it come below here just a little bit like this, that, and maybe darken it down even a little bit more back here, maybe something like this. Still using a big brush, not trying to be too specific. Like that. A little bit up here, darker. Come back and get my windish brush, and we'll just sort of lighten some of this up, merge it together, paint in some softer edges. I don't want that to be particularly noticeable over there, back here. It's sort of background music, if you will, and we'll just let that sort of be that way, wherever it wants to dry. We'll let that alone. Okay, so I'm going to have some trees up here. This now is dry at the top, so let's get our get my flat brush. Let's see. I'm going to use this same brush that I got with I've been using for softening the edges. I'm going to put some blue and some purple and some green and some brown. I'm going to get a dark color that's going to look like some trees that are evergreens kind of setting on top of this hill back here. So if I got that, I'm going to take some of the water out of this brush so it's not super wet. I don't want to cause myself any sort of blossoms of any kind, but I'm going to put a few trees back here, darken it down, get it dark as if you remember my value map that I created. I want this to be fairly dark, so I'm adding even a little Payne's gray in there right now. And this bristle brush just lets me put these little stand of trees back here, and I can keep adding to them and making them some taller, some shorter, some fatter, some narrow, and just sort of let this fade into nothing over here. All right, so I'm kind of closing in this corner a little bit, and I'm bringing some of these trees down even further with some darker colors here. And if I can put a darker color over, and it's a drier color, you will know that's in front of the ones behind it. But see, I'm also getting some bleeding here because there is paint underneath that's not very dry. I just put that on. But if I have this paint more drier than what's on the paper, I will still get these nice looking things going on out there. All right, so let's stop with that and see how this is going here. Let's come back and so I'm going to just kind of soften some of these edges and flick up some things, make it look like there's something going on back there besides just those trees. So as long as that's wet, I'm going to leave it alone for a few minutes and see if I can let some of the glisten come off of it. And then I'll come in here with either the back of one of my brushes and try to put a few hard trees in there. Okay, so that's good. Let's come down here and put maybe just another row of trees. This is still a little wet. It's probably too wet to get in there and mess around with. I have the same problem, I think. Let's think about that for a minute before we do it. So I'm changing this color now down here below this to make it more greener actually and less yellow. Just a slight change, not much. All right, so that's good for that for now. Let's go on down and see what else we can do down here. That is dry. I might as well put this another little row of trees in. Let me see. Still see some glistening going on, but I'm going to use the back of my brush, the beveled part of a brush, and just come in here and put a few little vertical streaks that wherever it's dark, come in here and throw in some things, make it look like there's a few other types of trees in there. And if you hit that just right, you'll scrape the paper out, or scrape the paint out and leave the white paper. If you hit it too late, nothing will happen. If you hit it too soon, the paint will close back in, you'll get a dark line. So depending on whether you want a dark line or a light line, you can decide on how you want to do that scrape out. And again, the timing is critical on it, otherwise you're not going to get the effect you want. But in 2 out of 3 cases, you're going to get an effect that you may be happy with anyway. So let's put a few more trees in here. Take these a bit bluish and purplish colors, and we'll throw a few of those in down here just to add another level of a bit more dimension to it, add another painting plane, if you will. I mean, the marks I put out there kind of show there's a change in the painting color anyway, but this, when you put another row of trees on and show something behind it, you're actually really telling the viewer, yeah, there's another layer of trees in front of these. And so I'm going to put some of these, even make them taller, hook them together, and kind of leave it at that. I may put a little touch the bottom of that with my clear water brush again. Take the paint out of this brush, get clear water, take the water out of it, and then just give it a few soft edges here, like right in here maybe. Just a few of these touches go a long way. All right, I think I'm going to leave that alone. Try to stay out of there if I can, and not leave, but maybe put a few more things that look like there's some rocks or something going on. Not rocks, but just some change of color, so it's not all one big green mass out there. All right, I'm going to say that part's all done. Leave it alone. Don't go back in there. Okay, anybody have any questions, please put them in the chat window, and I will try to look at my computer periodically and recognize them and hopefully be able to answer some of your questions. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to call that done. I'm going to come back now and start using my big brush. Again, I'm going to come in here and hit this this side of the this building is going to be sort of dark down here. It needs to be darker than that. I'm going to add some brown to it, and we'll put in this. Come on, I got to get my bristles together. They're a little too far apart. And we want this to sort of make a very distinct stand out here. And as it gets to the top, I'm going to change that color a little bit. I'm going to get a little smaller brush just to make sure I can fit it in there. I'm going to change that color and put a little more of this little yellow in here. This is because you will have some light bounce from the ground that's lighting up this underneath part of this eave here. So we just put that in like that, come back and we'll draw a little more paint down this side, darken this side of the building, and leave it like that. Over here on these this section, we've got several things that look like they're sort of these roofing joists that kind of stick down and stick out. So I'm just going to throw in some color here, some of my brownish color or whatever I've got, and make this sort of look like it's a little bit dilapidated. I don't want it to look totally destroyed, but I do want it to show we've got an edge here, and there's some things sticking down like that are, these would be the roofing joists that they made when they put this roof on. That's what the roof is attached to. All right, here we've got a window. I'm just going to, it's dark, so I'm just going to put in a dark thing like that for now. And I'll come around and outline that after a bit. Over here, let's put a few shadows under this guy over here. We're going to have some shadows on the bottom and right side because our sun is coming from the left, right? Let's put a few shadows in here like this, and just let that dry. Maybe a little too dark, I don't know, but we'll leave it for now and see what it looks like. If it gets looking too dark, I'll come back and put a few, put something else in there to sort of try to lighten it up maybe, I don't know. This area underneath here, I'm not sure what this is even supposed to be. I guess this might even be the back. Another, I think I call this another row of ground back here, actually. It goes like this over here, comes down like this, and gives a little more texture to the ground that we got. And throw this in like that, put it over there like that, that. Okay, just leave it like that. I've got to put some interesting little rocks and stuff under here. A few more things on this building here. We've got some boards and things that show some structure. There's actually a bit of a door-like thing here that I threw in. And all this is just sort of made up, you know, whatever we want it to be. I haven't got a specific reason for some of this stuff because I don't know exactly how this old mine would have worked, what doors it would have had or whatever. I just know that typically they have some sort of a something going on there to make it usable, and so you can get stuff in and out and that sort of thing. So all right, let's leave it at that for now, for right there, and we can come back and put some more darks in there later. Okay, so up here, I've already put that in, so let's see if we can get a little bit of a shadow of some sort in here, because this is a it is a shadow where the sun is hitting on the top of this, and maybe even a little shadow here, I don't know. The thing I do know is that this has to be really dark. This area here has to be as dark as we can get it, because it's where this building is going out of the sun, and it has to be tapered into what's there so that it looks like there's a sun hitting it, and this is typically what you see after the sun shines on a building like that. And the technical term for this shading piece is called the change plane accent. It's where the plane of the building changes from one facing you to one to the side, so the accent is really on this edge. All right, let's come moving across this building now. Let's come across here and see if we can get some gray, bluish gray type stuff for the front of the building. I don't want to put a lot in there because that is supposed to be a lot of white, and so I'm going to get a light bluish gray color here, made from my burnt sienna and my ultramarine blue. See what color that turns out to be. All right, it's pretty light. Let's put a little bit in here, like that, and while it's wet, come back and just sort of pull it down, just so it's not perfectly all white. We'll have these things going on here, the shadow. All right, actually I'm going to need a shadow over here on this side too. I don't know if it's too wet to put, I think it's too wet to put a shadow in there. I'll leave that for a minute. Hopefully I don't forget it, come back to it. So we're going to have some boards that kind of crisscross around here that gives us a way to get into the building. We're going to have more colors here. Let me get some more of this purple and my dark Payne's gray and all this, and we're going to begin putting in some things that look like they're underneath. I want it to be darker than that. We're going to do some negative painting now. We're going to start painting around some of these beams that crisscross underneath, like this. All right, like that. We got another one that comes like this, down here like that. This flat brush is good for this sort of stuff, and just put that in, and all of a sudden I've got some of the underlying structure that's holding this thing up. Over here I got some more coming over this way, and maybe make it a little bit wider here like this, and I've got some sort of a beam going up like that, and down here like this. Pretty cool. So this is what's called negative painting, folks. If you've never tried it, it's really fun to put these things in and see how you can, what you can design with them. And something like this is probably in an old building. It's just going to be falling apart. These things don't have to be perfectly rectangular and square or whatever, because over the time an old mining building like this is going to have a lot of deterioration and movement and that sort of thing. So, all right, where's my brush? Here it is. All right, so let's come back and see if we can put a little bit of this shadow in up here while I got this gray color going. Put a little bit of this across here, sort of as a glaze, like that. And we're going to put a few marks in this roof here. I got this thin brush. I can put some thin lines and thick lines and make it look like there's some things going on where this is got some gaps in it, maybe like this, maybe something like that. Okay, I do have a little chimney up there I want to throw on. Let's just stick him on right now and see. see how that works. All right, something like this. There we go. And he's going to have a little shadow associated with him, probably something that comes over. Maybe a little more paint here. Something like that. Okay. So this is going to be a little more shadow over here. Maybe this will be even darker. Tone it down. We'll tone this down a little bit so it's not quite as bold. All right, so I've got some structure in there. I'm going to come back now and just kind of work my way across here with some more of the same, pretty much same color. I may change it a little bit so that it's not all the identical color, because we are coming out a little more into the light here. I'm going to leave that dark for now, but right in here we're going to put in a few more of these negative structure definitions to help us tell the viewer what's going on down here. And there's probably some right in here too. All right, so something like that. Over here we got a few more. We're going to identify a vertical post here, and maybe another horizontal one or another diagonal one somewhere. Like right here. Put this together. So we're just kind of coming across this place and filling in some of these areas that we want to leave these posts white for now, and we can come back and put a little more dark in there after a while. But let's keep going, put some more of this stuff in. Over here we've got a section that's going to help define the edge of this building right here. This, like that, like this. And we're going to have the same color on the other side over here. And in here, like that. So you're seeing me just basically construct the bottom of these buildings, the structure that's holding everything up. Just using a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch flat brush to do it. Really does a good job for this kind of stuff. And down here, some more things. Here we're starting to get in some areas where I think I'm still going to use this black, dark. Maybe not. Maybe not. That may be okay. I've got water in here that I'm going to try to define as well, and hopefully I'm going to show you that water. And I lost my way here. I got to be careful. Pay attention. What's going on here? Okay, this is going to be. More things like this, and here. Well, this is going to start having a little more blue in it, maybe because it is water, more water out here. Like that. Over here, this is going to be water, water, water all around the bottom of this thing. Okay. Okay, let's take a little bit of my darker color here while we got this, and try to pull down some reflections in here to make it look like this is water. And what are they reflecting? I don't know. Whatever's up above. Maybe I'll put that in later. So this is like an old mine that's had water pumped in and run around it, and been pumped up and down and around, and so we're just left with what's out here right now. And then it's going to run into some rocks over here because this is kind of built on some rocky stuff. Again, I'm just making all this up, folks. I don't know if this place probably never did exist. maybe couldn't exist, I don't know. So now I'm starting to pull some of this together in some areas that's show some highlights in there. Over here we've got some, so we'll just leave it like that. I can come back and put in some of these vertical boards, and we'll end up having some nice nice looking bottoms of these, hopefully. Down here I'm going to put this in. I'm defining a rock here on the bottom now, and I'm going to leave this water come around it like that. And so I'm really not using a lot of paint. I'm just thinning it out, and here I think I want to get some more of this, bring some of this rocky color. It's probably a rock down here, and another rock that's going to meet with it over here like that. Start putting a few things in like that that start identifying what's going on out here. Dark like this. Okay, so it could be rocks lying in the water, it could be rocks that have water coming in around them. I don't know yet. I'll have to fine-tune that after a while, but I'm going to just put that in for now and leave it. Back here we're going to come in with some more of this same color and just sort of give it a quick, fast there, so it looks like it's fading out into something that's hitting a, it's not hitting a shoreline, it's hitting something that makes it a lot thinner. You can start seeing the rocky bottom through it here. Okay, and we'll soften that bottom edge just a little bit. I don't want to have a hard edge floating here because I don't know if that's going to be rock yet or not. All right, we're making progress. Any questions? Nope. Okay, let's go. I'm going to take a little longer on this painting today, folks. I'm not trying to get done in 60 minutes. I'm definitely going to try to slow down and spend a little more time on these things because I think I've been rushing them too much, and then I end up with something I'm not totally happy with. So I want to try to fix that today. All right, so this is that. All right, so what do we got up here? What do we got above this water? We've got some kind of a bank. It's got dirt, some kind, and it's going to come down to this water level here. It could even be rocks over there, I suppose. I wanted it to be rocks, but I'm going to make it a rough edge here if I can, where it hits the water, and it comes over there like that, and starts showing up over here. I better get my smaller brush. That brush is too big. Get some of this burnt sienna, add a little bit of this color I've got in my palette to it, and see if we can make that rough edge along there, make this a little rougher in here like this, across here like that. And this little section here, I didn't know what color to make it. I just decided it's going to be the dirt color from the background back there. All right, so now that looks consistent across there because it's got some something going, and above it, I don't know, let's make it some grassy stuff or something up here. I don't know, maybe there's a big grassy field back here that's coming down, and it's going to have some color in it, change it, vary the value, and whatever we got going back here, we'll throw a little change of altitude in it. And then using that same color, let's come in and see if we can carry it through here where it would be across some of these. I got this big diagonal line coming down, more yellow in it. Like this. Come on, get some. If I don't get enough paint in my brush or enough water in my brush, I start closing up the bristles start splaying out, which is not a good thing to happen. Over here we got a few more, a lot of negative painting going on here. If you haven't done this before, you should try it. It's a lot of fun. At least I've got a sketch of my my blocks back here where I want it to be and where I don't want it to be. So let's just put that in, put this in over here like that. All right, at least it shows me there's some structural stuff there that's holding this up, and it's behind everything. This thing here, I think that rock's too dry already, if it is rocks. So I'm gonna make it look a little more like a rock over there, and maybe add a second one over here if I can get a little darker color. Something like this. All right, I don't need to spend a lot of time over here. I don't want you to look over there that much anyway, so let's see if we can put in some things that look like there. There's some stuff coming up off these rocks that are all right, just something to break up that monotony of one color there. All right, and then I do have another tree I'm going to put in over here, at least one tree. Maybe I'll put in a couple trees just to give ourselves a little more something over here. I'm going to get a color that's got some green in it, got some purple in it, got some blue in it, and it's supposed to be an evergreen. I'm going to use my flat brush to see if I can do this. It's going to be like right here, and we're just going to stamp it in here back and forth. A little bit darker color, change the color. Put a couple trees in if I can. And I'll put this tree right down into that grass. And okay, let's give him another one. Got to have a tree, has to have a friend. Remember who said that? Bob Ross was famous for that. Let's give him a friend over here. And you see, you just kind of run these all together. You don't try to paint two separate trees. You just run them together and let the outlining, the edges on the outside tell the viewer what that is. You don't have to paint two distinct trees that are separated. It's actually better if you put them together and show some value changes in here, darker, lighter, something like this. Show a trunk in there like this. That go out the top. So we just got a couple of light trees that are sitting over here that are in this grassy area. And we'll throw a few more dark grassy things around it to make it look like it's part of this little hillside over here. All right. These are fun. These are kind of fun things to throw in. Getting too much detail in here right now, but that's pretty much all I want to do over there. I'm going to just kind of leave that alone. So I'll say that's all done, the sky's all done. I'm going to come up here and work on this top of this building now. Let's get some color that makes sense up there. Probably a grayish color again with some brown and whatever. Has to be darker. If I don't make it dark enough, you're not going to be able to see it. So I have to make it dark, like that. Down here, something like that. A little bit more blue color on the right side. Come on, give me some paint. All right, that's good enough for that right now. what's this over here? Here's that telephone pole that I was going to add in. I'll see if I can get it in now. I might as well put it in while I got my brush up here and in this, working in this area. So let's put in this, get it darker, a little bit darker, change the color. Come on, give me some darker color here. Something like that. And we'll put a little cross beam in here. It's kind of falling down. Some things on it like that. Maybe has a, these things typically used to have a little box on the side where everything connected into, and that was the so the wiring mechanism. On there, I think I'm just going to try to finish this and see if I can get done with it so I don't have to come back to it. I want some of these colors, using my script liner here, and just going to throw in a couple of things over here to the something like that. Okay, right side of this post should be a little darker. All right, that's good enough for now. So a few grasses in the bottom of them down here. Connect them in. Might want to make those darker, I don't know, but let's go back and see if we can hit the top of this building now. We're going to make it a little bit darker than it was. Pull a little bit more of my burnt sienna in and add a little bit of violet with it. And I think, let's just try it without, we'll try it wet on dry. Put a little shadow in here for starters, like this. And maybe a little shadow over here, like that. Now you can't tell the roof from the rest of the building. So let's pull this down. I want it to be lighter, more water. And change the color a little bit, add some complementary colors in here if I can get them. Violet, where are you? There you are. Put a little bit of a connector of some kind here. I don't know what that is, but I don't want that white there. So let's keep going. Some clear water and just sort of blend this together. Come back and add maybe a little bit of that pink, that reddish color that we had in there, like this. All right, how's that look? All right, it's coming along. These things might have a bit of a tone in them. Get all the way down here, all the way over there. Just a little bit of this. And so these are sort of in the shadow a little bit, so let's just tone them down a little bit and just like putting a glaze over this so that it doesn't stand out too much. On the end out here, let's throw this. All right. And these down at the bottom here need to be a little bit darker, quite a bit darker actually. I have a couple of very strong verticals that look like they're still standing and still holding stuff up. And we'll just pull that color over here in the water so that you got a lot of whites over here that probably are a little distracting. So just sort of color those in a little bit with, it looks like it might be dirt or sand or who knows what it may be. Soften this up, soften that up. Okay. All right, so now we've got that structure. We got a little structure to go up here. Let me see what else I can do. Hi, Lindy. Glad you're here. Welcome. We're moving right along. We've been going for about 59 minutes already here. At least that's what my clock tells me. If I go and put repeat that color over here. These buildings were at one time probably all the same color, but let's leave this out. Soft edges, hard edges. Okay. This up here, I think I'm going to just put a little tone on this because these are color that whole thing in, and I'll come back and highlight some of those cross beams with a different color in a little bit. I get so hung up trying to make this appear accurate, I'm losing track of the forest for the trees here. I'll put this glaze to blend it in with the top up there. It needs to be darker, it's too light. Okay, that's a little better. All right. Get a lot of these extraneous whites floating around, and they kind of takes the focus away from the main. I'm going to darken this in so these aren't quite as obvious, and I'm going to leave this so it's trying to be the open area of the building. What I want to do here is work on some of these stones that are underneath. I'm going to get a range of different colors. I'm going to get some reds, some oranges, some browns, throw some blues, violets in there, change the colors, and we're going to come down and start painting in some of these stones that you can't even hardly see right now. I just want to put in some like this. We'll come in and put another one over like that. I'm using a number 4 brush here that's a very fine, fairly fine point on it, and we'll paint around some of these, paint some of them as a purple color maybe. I don't know. Something like this, and don't have to put them all in, but you need to put in enough so that the viewer knows what he's looking at. And so let's just try to do that. Put in a go back and get some browns and throw in the middle here. All right, it's a cross beam there, cross beam there. Put in a few like that. Change the color, get something else out here. So they're supposed to represent some sort of rocks or something out here that's sort of helping hold this thing up, holding some of these beams up. Get carried away with this and do too much, but I want it to look like there is some structure down here that's holding things together. And put some darker shadows. This is getting some shadow from above, and soften it up. There we go. This area over here has probably got some of the same type of stuff. So we'll just throw that in. It's just kind of building this base under here to make it look like there's either some reflections going on because it is water, right? It should pull down. Right, and I've already got some over here going on, so by doing something similar with these trees, they would be coming down in this area like this, probably. Something like that, and use our brush and sort of blur them out a little bit. So So we still have that. This big post here, this telephone post might be showing itself down here somewhere. And we'll just sort of put it in and then slightly brush over it to blur it enough to make it look like there's something there. All right, let's keep going. Over here I'm still working on some of these rock-like structures that are underneath everything. And getting in some different colors. I think that's about all I had in there. Maybe there's another rock of some kind down here. Something to just make it look like we got something going on underneath here. It's a really dark thing going on here like this. And start tying it together. And use our brush, so I'm trying to tell you that's water by pulling these vertical brush strokes down, right? It helps give that reflectivity that you need when you're trying to represent water. Okay, where else have I got these rocks? I got some of these rocks over here on the right side. I'm making them reappear over here so I have some balance in my painting. Pick up some other colors and change the color a little bit. Like this. Over here, let's put a few in. Like that. Change the color, put a back, change the color again, put another rock or two in over here. This whole area is just covered with rocks over there, that right side. And wherever it's not a rock, I'm assuming it's something else. I probably need some gray rocks in there. I don't have any gray ones in there. Took my blue out of my color and lost my gray rocks. Now I got too much blue in there, so I'm going to put a little more brown in it, a little more of my burnt sienna. It will gray those down. And we'll start putting a few gray rocks in here. I don't know if that's looking enough like rocks or not. We'll throw a few more in, a few more things that look like they should be in there. Come back and put a few more colors on that if I want, but I want to put this out, put another color or two down here. Okay. So we can just let that kind of fade off into nothing down here. And turn my palette up there. All right, let's go here. Put some rough texture in here, let it look like there's some more rocks. Whatever this is, it's so I'm just ad-libbing now. I don't even have anything specific in mind other than I'm going to try to fill this in so that I'm going to define the top edges of these rocks over here. This is probably something gravelly. I don't know what it can be. I'll let the viewer figure that out, and that way the viewer gets enmeshed in the painting. What's going on here? What is all that stuff? Okay. And I want to come back with my damp brush here and sort of soften some of those edges so they're not all hard. and pull a few down so it looks like we might be still getting some reflections from this. All right, so I've got a bunch of stuff over there that looks like we're, I think I need a few more things to balance this out going down over this way. Like that, give me some more rocky looking material. I'll just make these sort of fade out into the, whatever this is over here, I don't know, I don't really care. I think this come down a little further and leave it at that. So now, do I have enough dark? Am I meeting my value plan? I don't know. I don't think I am yet. I think I have to get some more darks in here. I'm going to go back underneath this area here and thank you, Sugar Circle. How are you, Lauren? Good to see you. Okay, let's look at this and see. Okay, I think it's, I want to get my flat brush here, flat. And I'm going to get some really dark stuff now. This is not dark enough under here. I got to really get this darker. So I'm using my violet, my Payne's gray, my browns, my umber, some really dark stuff, and see if I can get it dark enough. I'm going to come back in here and see if I can put in a few more places where we have some posts that are back inside here that are hiding from us. And if we do this, we paint around some other posts, all of a sudden we have another post going in the background there underneath. So what you call this is a second generation negative shape. See what I did there? All of a sudden I used that color that was underneath there and I used that as the base color and I put a darker color around it and I have a second generation negative shape. I want to do that again over here somewhere. Let's take another one like right in here. Let's make it not too vertical. Let's make it a little bit angular here. And put in something like this. We'll just come in and put another thing. I'm using a flat brush to do this with. And okay, so you can see that, and I see a place where I might have another one like right in here. I have a like right here. Let's put one like this, and this, and maybe even one more down here. I'm going crazy now. I got to be careful. All right, let's kind of tie that together and put a little more dark stuff here and give ourselves a little more value, because we do have this area over here is more in shadow. I didn't have it dark enough, so let's just throw in some basic stuff like that, and we'll let that set for a while. I'm going to put some nice rocks here in the foreground. I think I'm going to go back and finish up some of this up here, and we'll move on. Those darks, Lindy, those darks really make it start coming to life. That's the thing that I've always had trouble with. Every time I paint, anytime I'm in a workshop, typically the instructor says you need darker darks. Darker darks. So I'm just going to mix up with some of these rocks up here and see if I can get a few more negative shapes back in here. All right, so I've got enough going on there. You can see there's something going on underneath that part of the building, and over here we might put a few more. I don't know if I even need any more over here, but let's put a few more things like that. Okay, I actually could do a similar thing over here with putting in a dark overlay of some kind to this, and down here, make it a little darker, make these a little darker, this a little darker. I'm not adding anything here, I'm just re-accenting these dark shapes under there so that it helps pull it together with what else is going on here. Alright. Alright, there we go. This is too white in here. Take just a touch, just glaze over that very quickly and softly, like that. These extra whites are going to cause us trouble, so I want to darken some of this down. So that's what I'm doing right now. Just got a little bit of this gray in my brush, just sort of glazing over some of this like that. All of a sudden it's gone away. All right, now, what else? Am I going to leave those white? I don't think so. I think they got to be in some bit of shadow, so I'm going to get a little bit of this gray, watered down gray. Hopefully that's dry enough that I can glaze over this. Yes. All right, and I'm leaving some rough texture in there so that it doesn't look like it's all. That makes it a lot nicer looking. Okay, up here, I forget what I did up here. I guess I didn't even define much in here other than I had this part of the building there. Kind of dark thing up here. And let's add some quinacridone to that. See if we can get a little bit of a yellow. Maybe something that's causing light bounce. That might be a door or 3 doors for all I know. Okay. And let's put a top over him. Some sort of a beam or something that is over this. That could be an opening. I could make that an opening going back into darkness. I wanted to really darken that down. Question is, should I do it or not? Okay, up here in the top we've got a bit of the shadow outlining a window of some sort or an opening. Alright, and I don't want that to be so perfect. This is too perfect too. I just want to sort of make these. Let's darken this down. Let's make this a little bit darker. What do you think? See what that looks like. Give me some really Payne's gray. Put this in here. Put another little structure, something like that. So it looks like we're kind of looking into the building maybe and seeing something on the inside, hopefully. And we can do the same thing here we've done with the trees up here. When that starts to lose its glisten, we can start scrape something in there that makes it look like something going on. There was a couple things I put here that I thought was going to be a door, like right in here. Get enough paint, water paint, right here like this. All right, there we go. All right, and we're just sort of filling in now some stuff where you might need it. Okay. This top part up here, I think maybe it's time to put in a little bit of calligraphy up here. Some of these I'll put a few vertical lines in there to kind of darken it down so it looks like there is you see a little bit of shadow there maybe. Don't want to do that too perfect. Don't want to do it too distinctly. All right. What have I got? I got these cross beams up here that I haven't done anything with yet. What color should they be? I don't know, any color. I don't want them to be so distinct that they draw your eye over here because of their color. So I'm going to just put in something that's sort of muted gray, and we'll put in a few beams like this to sort of help it connect. Like this, down here, like this, and we'll throw a couple more oddballs in here like this and this. All right, not too obvious. It is a little bit bright there. I might tone that down a little bit, but basically that just sort of says we've got some sort of a structure here that's holding this ramp up. So I know with some gold mines they had to raise the gold up, take the gold up somewhere, and then they would have a crusher of some sort in separating and get the gold out of it. I think I need excuse me, how are we doing on time? Hour and 21. Wow, well, this is longer than most folks, but I'm doing this on purpose because I want to try to finish this off without I'm going to have to put a throat lozenge in my throat because I've been talking and I'm losing my voice. Let's go back and check my my value map. I'm sorry. So I was trying to do this one, leaving this sort of light, everything else sort of mid-value, with some dark accents. Now I'm going to put my rocks in front, and that will be the end of it. So let's see if we can put these big rocks in and finish this up. So the rocks should be either gray or brown, maybe some blue in them. So I'm taking this big brush and we're going to start in here. We're going to put in a change the color, make it darker at the bottom. And we're going to have another rock that sort of comes up like this and joins. Leave some areas for highlights up here. And we're going to leave some areas at the bottom. Or if we don't leave them, I'll paint them in. We're going to paint some darker shadows down here underneath these rocks. A good trick on some of these rocks is to put some multiple colors in here like this. I'm adding some red, throwing it in there like this, and I'm going to come across and take a few more swipes at some rocks like this with some different colors. And by putting these multiple colors in like this, I'm going to let some of the glisten get off of this, show you another trick to use for making rocks. Very cool feature. Multiple colors, throw in some blues, throw in some purple. Whoops, that's green. Got the wrong well there, folks. Throw in some. Just going to throw in some of this over here very quickly. Darken it down, add dark colors, light colors, red colors, something, and we're just going to have a pile of rocks down here with a few separations in them, right? So if I want some soft edges, I can come in with my brush here and just sort of soften this, and it will kind of blend it into the landscape that's there, which I would typically do on the edges. So I don't want you to look over there. I don't want you to look over here particularly, so I'm going to sort of soften this a little bit. But the real trick, the real secret of making some cool rocks is to either get a razor blade, which I use, here's this one, or you can get an old credit card. After the glisten comes off of this, you can come in here and start like that, and now you're starting to make some rocks that like that. Over here, let's put a few in. And what we're doing is we're using the bumpiness of this paper, the bumpiness of this 300-pound cold press paper to allow you to scrape off some of the tops of where the paint is not. Then we're going to come in and put a few more defining darks in between. So we have something here that looks like we've got separation between some of these rocks, right, like this. Make a couple rocks out of this possibly. And over here, let's just throw in something in the bottom. And if it looks like it's too strong, we can use our blender brush and soften the edge here, blend that up into the highlight, this into the highlight as well, and over here maybe something there. All right, those are looking like rocks. They look a lot alike, which is not a great technique. I think it's because I don't have enough dark above them, like right in here. Throw in a few darker shades. I let that sort of run together, and I use my blender brush and let that blend out. So I put in these darks above these rocks. I think it will help, possibly. I have a lot of this rough texture that I did with a brush up here, and I replicated it with my razor down below. All right, let's see here. You want the definition of the top of these rocks to be hard edge. And if the rocks were going to touch on anything else, you would make the definition of what they touch on, whether it be soft or whatever. Okay, I think it's time for just a little more calligraphy. A few more things here to enhance maybe the building or the windows or something here. Something that helps define things, a little more definitions. And Certainly we can throw in some splatter, which never hurts. More water. Now, Lindy, I'm only working with watercolors these days. I've lost a bunch of subscribers because I think they were watching me for my oil paintings, but this is giving me a lot more peace of mind. I don't have to worry about different painting techniques and keeping all the supplies for oil paints and canvases and brushes and paints and all that stuff that I've kept. So it makes it a lot easier on me since I don't have the space anymore to do this. I do remember somebody always asks about things like this. Darker, darker. I don't know who that is. And let's put a little bird down here. Okay, maybe a couple more streaks here. I think I could put a chimney over here, some kind of a chimney. Whatever you can do to add incidents at the edges, they're called. Oh, I have a couple of windows I left out here. There's a couple of windows. I'll throw a couple of those in there. Maybe even another window here. Something like this. Let's put a few. I'm just adding some calligraphy marks that sort of help show there's something else going on out here. It doesn't have to be specifically meaningful, but it either helps show the lay of the land or is helping define something out here like a rock. Maybe show some cracks in some rocks that you would typically see. And just to add a little bit of flavor to the thing. Almost starts getting abstract over here at some point if you start doing too much, but I think I'm going to stop with that and touch up a few of these, maybe just to, I don't want to have too many hard edges down here. All right, I don't know if I'm going to do much else with that. I think it's pretty well finished. Maybe I put a few boards that are split out here, something like that. I did have a thing hanging out here that was something like a winch or something that they could use to either raise things up or drop things down. Needs to be darker than that. Just what is it? I don't know. I could sit here and touch up for quite a while, folks, but I think I'm going to stop and call this done with. Where am I going to put my name is the next question. I don't have a clue right now. Let's see, about right in here, this might work. Change. All right. I hope you like that. I hope you give that a try, and let me know how you do. It's kind of fun to work on these kind of things where you are really trying to use your imagination and you're trying to create something without anything to look at other than maybe a sketch. So it's always been kind of fun. I meant to ask you if you're interested in any kind of Zoom classes at all. I've been thinking about that, whether I could do something, class type of thing with Zoom. If you are interested, please send me an email with your email address. You can email me at my name, Larry Hamilton 2, number 2, Larry Hamilton number 2 at gmail.com. And if you're interested in that, I might try to work something up where we'd have a low-cost Zoom lesson, and everybody could join in, and we could spend 2-3 hours together and everybody could have interaction while I'm painting and interrupt me and whatever. The chat window doesn't seem to work a lot. It does work, but I think Zoom classes are kind of a coming thing, or at least they seem to be. And so anyway, I think that's all I want to show you today. And if you like this, please do so. Please share it. Give me your comments back. Check out my website. Check out my Facebook page. Check out Antonio Romo's music page. He has a link here on my channel too. He lets me use that before everything starts. And so really appreciate all of you being here and sticking with me as I convert myself from a total watercolor oil painter to a watercolor only painter. And I hope I don't lose too many more subscribers over that, but I've lost quite a few this year already. So anyway, that's what I have to do. So I'll say that's all for now, and I'll see you the next time. So long. Bye-bye. Go back into this.